Boom, boom. All right, let's go see what we've done. I enjoy this group. All right, I had this all lined up, looking for it again. In the first session, I started at Will's end. So I'm going to, oh my goodness, I just clicked the wrong button. There we go. That one. That's what happens when you get a little tired. All right, so Linda, if you hadn't seen, put up, I still love that tree. Your tree and Will's trees were just, the sketches were wonderful. This is, yeah, the image you chose to work from. And these are your two afternoon paintings. Do you want to explain a little bit about your process beyond what the assignment was?
Yeah. Well, being limited to 3 colors there, 1, 2, 3, actually made it sort of easy to block things in. I started, I think I did the lower image I did first. And I did the trees, and I just kind of thought about, what do I want those trees to be? And I said, I want them to be raspberry magenta. So that's what they ended up being. And then I thought that that hot green as a sort of floor to the painting would work out good. And then the other, my other color was that kind of a teal blue. But as you see over on the left, I had a change of heart. So I went in and I blended over some of what I had back there. And I kind of like the way that looks back there, little models looking. And then I like to kind of have little places where this little color surprise. So in the trees, I put little spots of that green and sort of the turquoisey color. So I liked that one. But I thought the second composition is kind of a little more fun. Those trees all lined up there. And as I was going along, I had left the sky area blank. And by the time I arrived there, I thought, oh, gee, what am I going to do with that sky? Because one color behind those trees wasn't going to work. It would wind up sort of canceling out. So I just divided up the sky into panels. So I think that one was really a lot of fun. Had fun with those colors. Yeah. So that was my process. And then too, I back into the trees and put little spots to make them a little less flat, I guess.
That's what some people call sky holes. They call them sky holes where like colored skies are coming through.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Some comments on hers? I'd love to hear some ideas.
I love this on the bottom one. I love the shadow that sort of creeps in from the right. You know, it's sort of an odd color, but it really works. It's exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's an interesting shape too. It's a wonderful shape in there, where the trees are kind of roundish. That creates nice foil against those trees.
Yeah.
To me, it says there's something going on to the right that we can't see, but it's casting a shadow, and it's very effective.
Yeah, and the fact that it's close in value to that flat green area lets the tree shapes really move forward because your eye isn't so distracted down in that corner. So it's kind of the quiet little piece there. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I love the simplicity of both of these, but they're so striking. And on the bottom one here, you see my cursor. The fact that normally a red warm advances and cool recedes, red should pop out at us. But by taking that blue, which would be the receding color, and just skimming over a bit of that magenta helps read this area as part of the trees.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I like a little bit of that blue shining through. And the breakup of this, because remember, I kind of commented at one point, said, oh, that's cool, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
This division is just wonderful, wonderful. The only one little thing I might say is all of your tree trunks stop right on this kind of horizon line. And see, come down through it a little bit, maybe just that blue, just pull it down possibly a little bit to break that one
to break
line up right there.
Yeah.
And considering that's almost smack dab in the middle of the paper, it still works so well. Anyone else?
It's cool.
Great.
Fun.
Somebody say
I said fun.
Oh, fun. Yes.
Sure.
It's exciting. I mean, all of a sudden you're doing things that, would you have done this, Linda? Have you ever done anything like this? Similar? Good.
But not quite with this real intention. You know, there was really, you know, an intention here to play with those specific colors. Yeah.
And I think too, starting this limited, you're forced to do it. You know, you've got this driving teacher that's going to force you to do the things.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it was an exercise. Yeah.
I like it. Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Cindy, thank you. Cindy. Okay, Cindy's been working with the boats and the trees, and this, look at four this afternoon, 4 of them.
Nice.
Cindy, do you like to share? Where are you? You're not my.
Well, I used the boat picture that Terry Lynn provided for us, the black and white boat picture, and I did several thumbnails. And
Did you post that one? I'm sorry. Did you post that picture?
I did not.
Keep this in mind, people, just for a moment. I want to see where I put that. Here it is. This is the picture she worked from.
Oh.
Right? You would almost never know that. She has taken it and made it her own. So what happened?
So the third thumbnail I did, I zeroed in on the boats. And the top 3, I used that thumbnail. And the 4th one, I pulled back and I used the whole picture. And I just had fun with color. I had so much fun. And each time, the first 2, Terry Lynn gave me suggestions and they made such a difference. And then when I got to the 3rd one, I used all of her suggestions in it, and I'm sure it needs more, it could use more suggestions. And then the 4th one was with all 4 colors, where it was the 3 split complementaries, and then you could choose a 4th color. So that was fun. And I used the same colors as the 3rd one, and I added in, I can't remember what I added in.
It looks like that dark purplish blue.
Okay.
Purple.
Purple. Yeah. So that was just fun. I mean, I just had fun playing with the colors, and I didn't worry about the shapes, the forms. I just played with color. It was really fun.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. This one right here, when I look at it, especially when it's smaller here, the tree area, it's ambiguous to me. It could almost be like water behind these boats, you know, and it's like reflecting something in the distance. Anyone else, please? I'd love to have your
The
thoughts.
last one's very dramatic compared to the other 3.
This one.
Yeah.
That yellow
Yeah,
really pops out.
Yeah, that really nice contrast in there.
Yeah, I really like that one too. It's very mysterious and it really draws you in. I think it's really, really wonderful.
It's like you're grasped by this area right here because that yellow just pops. And then you're
Yeah.
slowly drawn back here and you want to know like, what is going on back there?
That beautiful magenta over there on the, it's really, really wonderful.
And is this on UArt dark?
The third and the fourth are done on the dark pastel matte. Actually, the third is done on dark UArt and the fourth is done on dark pastel matte.
On that.
And on the fourth one, on the third one, I noticed it needed something dark. And so that's why I added in the dark purple blue color, and it really did make that middle boat pop. The third one, I noticed the middle boat just got lost. And to me, it was
this one right here.
yeah, to
Yeah.
me, it was the focus. And so making it blue was not, it didn't work.
Blended it in a lot into here. And if you squint down, you could see that. Now that would be a great place. Remember I showed you the paper today that you could hold that up, like what color would work really well there to replace that if you wanted to. Remember with the magazine pieces I showed you? Was that?
Oh,
Yes.
Do you remember
Yeah.
those? Yeah.
okay.
Nice. Ah, this is so exciting.
I think it shows the progression. That's the reason I like it. It definitely shows sort of a building from one to the next, and they're increasingly successful.
When she was working on this first one and I was watching at one point, I asked her, I said, you're using an extra color down here. See how green that is? And it's basically because she mixed the teal with that yellow and by layering them created a new color.
Mhm.
So she stuck to the rules.
I did. You said we could do that.
Yeah, and it did. It works. It makes a whole new color. Let's see, Leah, you just, oh, wait. Is that it? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the last.
Oh, you've got two. All right. So why did that do that? Here we go. All right. Oh my goodness. Wait, was this the last one or the first set?
This is the last set.
Oh, okay. Let me go because I hadn't seen these. Here we go. This is the one I'm trying to get. All right.
Yeah, that was done. That was the first set in the afternoon.
So
Oh, wow.
explain to us your process because I found this fascinating.
So the one on the left, I had started to just use the straight 3 colors, and and I kind of got away from the sketch that I had done, and I didn't really like how I was going, so I started again, which was the middle one, and went more back to the sketch that I had done and started layering the color more, which I really like that better. And then the third one, I went for a different palette, but kind of the same process as the second one. And that was, I forget what that palette was. I think it was the purple and red, magenta and yellow green.
And the yellow green. Very, very different colors from this.
Yeah.
Not as much differentiation between the purple and the magenta red, I think. This, we had talked about that in this first one, this path is so yellow that it's kind of vying for your attention between what's happening in the front foreground and what's happening back here. This one, because of the added layering, the layering adds depth and shadow. And then she softened the path, and the path leads your eye back into this brilliant light that's beyond, that makes you want to go there. Also, you have some very fine details right here. So this is obviously your center of interest. Everything is coming up and working around there. And the layering, again, creating new colors by just you only have 3 colors and you're layering them, making new things. And this one is very different. I like how this little almost dead branch keeps evolving throughout.
Yeah. It wanted to be there. It kept
Yeah.
coming up.
Very, very nice. Anyone else?
I like how they have completely different emotion to them.
They do. They do.
Mhm.
I'd like to say something about the third one. The fact that there's a gap at the top of the path, your eye is able to flow more easily into the sky. And in fact, it almost looks like it's two-tone picture, and that it kind of reminds me of those, is it the old woman or the young girl kind of an image, where at one point I'm looking at trees and then I'm looking at this mushroom shape, and it goes back and forth. And I find that really interesting.
Because
I love the composition is wonderful.
the tree stops
Thank you.
this path here, and here
Yeah.
it flows. Where does the path stop and where does the background start? They're not separated. They flow one into another. It's nice. Thank you, Jennifer. That was an interesting. I think I had subconsciously noticed that, but not really consciously.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
think
for-
I played with that more on the next round.
Oh, yeah. Look, and she's gone abstract on this. So this is a new process.
Mhm.
So you took off here, you went back to the last three colors you used, it looked like.
Yeah, and that was, I added the fourth color and I added yellow, which was too close to the yellow green that you don't really notice it. And so then the second two, instead of adding a yellow, I added the blue.
Which was on the other side of that split complement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which seemed to work, showed up more than adding the yellow, because the yellow I added right where the path meets the sky
In here
kind
or here?
on the left one, yeah. And then the little highlights on the magenta is all the yellow, but it looks basically the same as the yellow green.
It is very close. In this, is it that way in the actual painting or because it's on the computer here?
It stands out a tiny bit more, but it was just too close.
Too close. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went abstract here.
Yeah. I decided to just kind of throw everything out the window and just try that for the heck of it.
I love it. I think it's a great idea. Shows, I mean, I thought I can't paint abstract. When I took something, I had an abstract challenge and I'm like, I can't do this. I can. And then when I zeroed in one of my paintings, I'm like, right there, that's abstract. You know, I was just trying to make too big because we can. And this shows that. And at this point, these colors are almost this is a green though, right?
Yeah, it's that yellow,
Yeah.
yellow green.
It almost reads as yellow here. So it's almost a classic
Mhm.
primary triadic, but it is a hint green, which helps set it off. The nice thing here too, this yellow green and this deep ultramarine blue. When you're thinking the classic wheel, the complement of blue is orange,
Mhm.
but because this yellow or yellow green is the optical complement, it kind of pops it out even more. Nice. This is so exciting. I keep saying that. I'm so excited. Anyone else? A couple people are very quiet tonight. Rick, how is this looking to you? Does this differentiate a lot for you?
Yeah, it does. It does quite a bit. It's kind of struck me with the real limited color palette that all of these almost take on a quality of a monotype print.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah.
Which I think is a neat thing.
They're really nice. You can see too that, I mean, she's done how many, six or seven? Six
Yeah.
paintings this afternoon. Wow. And the progression, and just by playing with it more and more and more, the same image and about the same colors, that you're going into areas you probably wouldn't have gone before by the repetition, not total repetition, but somewhat repetition of the image and the colors. The images are all from the same. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I got away from the image that I had. So that was good. That was probably one of the better outcomes.
I was just looking for, it's not up here. Is it your sketch?
I have it. This was I don't know, I can't, let's see.
Let me see if I can, I don't know.
So that was the original image.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
And we had talked about simplifying it and deciding, do you want the fence out
Yeah.
there or the,
That was kind of the sketch I ended up
Yep.
working from. But it's totally different, even the sketch from that image, which for me is not always the easiest thing. So that was good.
now I like that you made a decision, because the fence and the trees could have been they could have been contending for the center of interest.
Mhm.
And here you made a definite decision as to what the center of interest was, and worked it very well. Nice. How we got 3 people. Checking my time. All right. Jennifer was busy too. That's too big. Why is that so large? There we go. Jennifer. Wow. All the sketches she did, all the nice little study sketches, they're each somewhat similar to each other. There's some changes, like here, the shading and stuff. But I remember seeing this one first. Your thought process or your experiential process.
I don't know if I was thinking. I tend not to when I'm drawing. I think I just, under your instruction, picked 3 colors and just sort of looked for the lights and the darks and the mediums, and processed it that way. Really, that's all I can say.
So
You have your check marks on 2 and X's on the other 2.
I just really, I chose which color choices I liked maybe for future.
Oh, uh-huh.
oh,
I changed my mind later on about the orange one on the orange and purple one on the right. I kind of like that now.
I was gonna say that's the color that I think I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, I like that one quite a lot.
I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way that the green sky bounces off the green roofs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a very nice painting.
Thank you.
I mean, who would think putting lime green in the sky? Oh, let's just paint those. But look how effective it is. It's absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of like your horizontal, long horizontal
The smaller ones down here.
composition a little better. It doesn't seem so crowded.
Uh-huh.
This one, you mean, or?
Yeah, the composition there compared to the 2 top ones, they seem a little crowded in there. And
Okay.
These images, like these shapes in the
Yeah.
the building shapes, and this one's set back a little more, so that takes on a I don't want to say subservient, but a smaller role in the overall painting.
yeah,
And this is the first. No, you've layered colors, but for some reason this one looks more layered. See the orange over the blue here? I don't know, the orange and the blue layering doesn't seem to work, but this teal over this magenta just is kind of yummy. You know, it's
Yeah.
visually interesting. And the 2 greens, it's almost like you have a warm green and a cool green here. And you followed the the form of the buildings. So you're consistent, the side to the roof.
Yeah.
But I also like this light yellow sky in both of these as well. And how
Mhm.
that bounces off the roof. You have a good sense of that.
Thank you.
You had more in here, yes?
Yes.
Oh, because then she moved on and she used this Elizabethan wall, is that correct?
Yeah, it's a 400-year-old wall with trees growing on it.
Wow.
Nice.
Beautiful. Where is it?
Just a minute, Devon.
That's fabulous.
Wow.
Oh,
That is fabulous.
That is beautiful. Nice
Yeah.
photograph. Absolutely gorgeous. And then she did some sketches from that. And this is the one with the fourth color.
Yes.
May I ask what you started with, your first choice to build off?
I added the orange, so I added purple and yellow and green, and then added the orange, which was next to the yellow.
Wow. Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's fascinating. You got working the details in the rocks a bit.
Really, they're just kind of dashes.
Yeah. Is this the one I came up behind you and said?
Yeah. Yeah, when I just started, I'd only made a few sketches with the charcoal, like
she's
2 lines
kind
with the charcoal.
Kind of waiting and just really thinking. And I'm like, gosh, just play with it a little bit more. I'm sorry. I like the light behind it pulls again that the feeling that this has that glow behind those trees and you're pulling that into it. And then kind of it dances down through here.
Yeah.
The orange helps in some places. I like the layering of it here and the color, it blends through, but this is a little spotty. You know, it's kind of here and here and here and here and here. Sometimes you want to consider taking each element, if you pulled out just the greens or just the darks or just the oranges, that they would kind of create a nice design themselves. Your darks here are tied together very nicely. And then they come and swoop around here. The oranges are a little more fragmented.
Okay.
But I like this. And interesting, the combination. Is this green, what we're seeing on the screen, is that pretty accurate to the green you
Yes,
used?
I think so, yes.
Nice. That's one of those colors I hardly ever use, that type of green. I don't know why. I think it's from watercolor. I got away in watercolor from greens because watercolor paint that comes in a tube is green. It will stain your paper and you can't lift it. So I learned how to mix a lot of my greens, and I wonder if that's why I kind of stick away from greens. But and green, I mean, when you look at it in nature, it becomes almost a neutral. It's so overwhelming. It kind of takes over everything. But I
When you
like.
were talking about the orange, were you saying to leave it out up in the tree area? Is that what you were saying?
No, I'm not. It's just a little like spotty here and there. If there were a couple spots where it was a little more cohesive as.
Okay.
I can see that.
Florent Fage, he has some great, he's an oil painter, but he does some great YouTube videos. He talks about the percentage of having a dominant color and then a main color. So when you see, say, a Renaissance master's work, and you say, oh, it's the boy with the red shirt. The red shirt, actually, the red paint takes up very little of the canvas, but that's the color that stands out. And then the rest that's around it is usually somewhere in sort of a complementary or split complement area that's muted down. So a percentage of a painting with your strongest color and then kind of your general color. This one to me is a little more balanced of each color, except the darks, you know, that blue is, it's really nice. Does that make sense?
Yep. Mhm.
I like this. These are great. I'm going to leave this Padlet up until I have to actually use it again. I get 3 Padlets for free. So feel free to come and look at these and make comments if you like. All right, Rick, is this your first one?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And I don't know what happened from these colors are nowhere near what the original drawings are. I think they went through my Google phone and then into my computer and then into
across
Google
the internet.
Pictures and yeah, across the internet. And when I posted them up there, I'm like, God, these all look like mud.
They look
No.
like subdued
I
colors.
like it.
They're subdued, but this
Yeah,
looks like very
yeah.
autumn. These are autumn colors that just nice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's good that, you know, they do have a good side to them. So, but
And
these,
everyone,
yeah,
I asked him to leave the little color swatches on the side over here. This is kind of part of his thinking process. So I thought it was nice to share that.
yeah, I put up the ones at the top that are labeled. That's for, you know, kind of my future reference. But those are the 3 colors that I was using. And then below that, I was testing putting the colors on top of each other and seeing what effect they had. And, you know, depending on the texture of each particular pastel, sometimes you couldn't put one pastel on top of another one because it was so soft that it just covered up the other one. But it would work the other way around, where the softer one could go on the bottom and then the other one could go on top, and you wouldn't, it would just be a nice kind of glazing on it. And that was the way I was was looking at that and trying to deal with the fact that there are only 3 colors. And, you know, there's some initial thoughts here of reflected light off the ends of the buildings that have light hitting them, and trying to figure out a way to have the light where the light is hitting the roof of the barns. How do you do that with only 3 colors? And so I think in most of these, I chose the main color of the field that the buildings are sitting in also became the color of the roof. And then I would skim over the roof with one of the other colors, depending on what I was using for the sky and so forth. And this one, this was the first one, and it was a real mess. I originally, from my sketch, there's a line of trees that goes behind the barns and kind of ties it together. But with only 3 colors, it just became this big mess. And so after I finished the third one, I went back and wiped off the trees and just brought the sky right down to the horizon. And that seemed to help a lot. It simplified it greatly.
Right.
So,
Very yeah.
And I think you're right, Rick, the fact that those trees behind with only 3 colors, they were just going to kind of blend in to the building shapes instead of something different behind the buildings.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip to another one if you don't.
Okay.
No, you can keep talking.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look, Linda gave comments too. She's, oh, look, I love this one.
Oh, well, thank you, Linda.
Oh, wow.
You're welcome.
Ow.
Yeah, so kind of the same idea. You can see the 3 colors that are labeled, and then again doing some studies to see how they layered over each other and what effect they had. One of the things that kind of challenged me that I was intrigued with is in the original photograph, and I apologize I didn't post that one, but the field underneath the barns is a very light color, kind of a golden greenish color. And then below that, there's and that's the farm field. and I don't know what kind of crop it was, but then below that was kind of the edge of the field where it's just kind of weeds and stuff growing. And in the photograph, it's kind of very green. And so not having any real green color, that's where I started to get interested in kind of layering to see. And I realized that it was more about the texture and trying to get some contrast in the color that would convey that idea of the two different areas kind of running parallel to each other. So I think this is probably my favorite one. And again, the colors are off from what I see on the screen here for what are on the easel, but I think it still holds together pretty well.
I like the textures you got on the buildings and in that
Yeah.
weeds.
Mhm.
You said. Nice.
That's a great sky too. It's almost like a night sky that's coming forward.
Yeah, night sky or some really nasty storm blowing.
Yeah,
in.
storm
Yeah.
moving off and the light coming under. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you're sitting in the sun before the storm hits. And I think graphically they're outstanding. Both of them are great.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
I love this texture in here that makes it look like grass right up against that building.
Yeah,
You're-
that was
Yeah.
on all three of them. That was something I did, probably the last thing I did. I was looking at it and the buildings were very, I mean, there was actually a little bit of the white, the paper color coming through and the buildings were kind of floating. And that's something that I always, I don't do in my
Yeah.
paintings that I'm spending a lot of time on, and I found that just kind of pulling the pastel up like that very, very gently kind of ties the two together.
Yep.
It brings the buildings down to the ground and you get a sense of the depth of the vegetation around the barns.
With just a
And
couple
the-
small strokes. Yes. Go ahead. Sally.
Right. Mhm.
Somebody said something? Sorry.
I was saying it's a nice soft edge there where it meets the red barn,
Mm.
Mhm.
opposed to the sort of more sparkler line just meets the sky and the grass. Really little cool corner. Looks great.
And your layering here definitely gives this a green feeling, like it's in shadow, but green.
Yeah. Mhm.
What your paper, this looks like impasto. It's like so thick, the pastel on your paper. You said you use you're using Terry Ludwig's, right? And this is
Yes.
alla prima.
Mhm.
So you're just putting down one stroke. And what was the paper?
This is the first two are pastel premier.
Okay. Yeah, that just buttery feeling to those, which they say, Terry's are, but you can see it in the thickness of your pastel and how this
Mhm.
layers over here and really beautiful. You had another one.
Almost all of my drawings I do on black paper, and I decided just for this workshop to switch that up.
To
And
this
I do,
paper.
I do have some different brands of kind of an off-white paper, and I've gotten used to, I control how much of the black comes through in a sky. Sometimes I want more of it for the texture, but I almost never put pastel on this heavy. But it just in dealing with a very limited palette, it just seems to make sense.
Yeah. I like this. Interesting. You pulled in green as your extra color when you had mixed it before.
Yeah. I felt, and that really made a difference for me, especially in the lower band down there. I think that really helped a lot.
Yeah.
I think I might have used all four colors, maybe not the red. I didn't use the red. So I used 3 colors in that lower band. And I thought that came off the best of the 3 drawings, having more color in it. And
the strength of your barns here too, you can almost feel that you've worked through like, what's the important lines and shapes that I want
Yeah.
on this horizon here. And in each one, you've got this just very gentle angle here, and then this gentle angle down here, so that you don't have a shape that's going statically across the paint.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It adds a hint of dynamism to it.
Yeah,
It's
that
blue.
the sloping line under the barn, well, on both of them are really exaggerated from the photograph. But it just, it's sort of a kind of an overdone way to kind of lead you in to the barn.
But compositionally, that's what it needed. Otherwise, it would be
Yeah.
almost a
Yeah.
barrier instead of
Yes.
a Z shape or something. So here, look at this light glaze of this blue over this side of the barn.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
is,
in the photo, those are the sides that are kind of in shade.
yeah,
Sure.
And at first I tried to just really make it darker red and the ends of the barn kind of to skim that in red. And that didn't work at all. And then I thought, well, I thought about what I would do if I was using all of my pastels. And then I thought, well, I can't do that. So I'll just use the blue. And I went over it a couple times. I'd add some blue and then I'd add some red back and then some blue again until I got it to where I wanted, and then eliminated it completely. No blue at all on the ends. And so I think it does work as a shadow effect.
yeah.
Sure.
And it kind of skitters across the surface of the paper and
Mhm,
actually
mhm.
really nice. That's one of those things, sometimes you want to get this effect and you can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah.
Very nice.
It's real interesting doing it with a color that wouldn't occur in nature.
Right? Yeah. Then that's breaking you out of that comfort zone of
Yeah.
realistic colors.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Definitely.
this is about. And you're all very bold to try this. So here's Chris's barn. And here's his first two. Are you there, Chris? Or are you?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I know you'd been having trouble. You going to share? I'd like you to share, please.
Oh, well, I'm a rule follower, so I did no glazing whatsoever. I told Will, maybe I'm too much of a rule follower. So I totally kept all the colors completely separate on these first two, but it was still really a lot of fun. And it became almost a graphic design experiment rather than a painterly experiment, but I very much enjoyed it. And I told Will that I need to do a lot more of this. I have a tendency, as you know, Terry, to overthink it and plan out all my drawings and then spend hours transferring my drawing to the sanded paper and then giving infinitesimal amounts of effort to doing the painting. And it was kind of really fun to just make a mess, and so that was a lot of fun. And this was a photo I took of a scene here in Asheville, and so it was kind of fun to mess around with that a little bit too.
I like the progression. Is there a third one as well? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to come back to that one, but these two, your first ones. Now talking about limited colors, but there's actually is an extra color in these paintings, and you're layering and skimming, doing glazing over
That's correct.
the dark paper,
Over the dark, yeah.
charcoal.
Yeah, and I kind of had fun letting that show at different times and letting it kind of influence the texture of the painting. So that was fun.
Yeah, like in here, you could great textures. I love that. And the marks that you've done here for this door and stuff are brilliant, I think. I love those. And you're right, this one is very almost graphic design, sort of. Very different color schemes too. Other people, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the diagonals on these paintings are just there's just so much energy there. They're really fun to look at. They really are. And I like the black coming through. I paint on black paper a lot too. It really makes for some really gives a lot of movement and energy. Yeah, like them.
Thanks, I agree. I really do like painting on black, and it just makes the colors pop quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it has the quality of a print, like you say. It's a graphic quality which really comes through. That is, it's sort of not your typical pastel. It takes it to a next level.
And not
I
that,
told Will, I felt like I was a little bit inside of a box, because I was really trying not to glaze. I was really trying not to, but I was trying to keep each of these colors very separate. And I also told Will it was really freeing to just lay some pastel down and not worry about it, and not worry about all of the things that I worry about. And so that was great. In fact, I plan on doing this every day for some amount of time, just
it's
laying
like a
some
warm-up
pastel.
exercise kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it was so freeing.
I mean, I never expect your paintings to head in this direction. He won the Best in Show in the North Carolina show, folks. He was floored. A beautiful painting of a grandmother's chair in front of the window and stuff. But I think this will, again, being that oblique strategy, trying to push you in, not push you into some other directions, but expose you to that. So that will enrich your whole painting experience on the other end as well.
Yeah, I think pushing me into another direction is the correct way to actually say it, because you had to push me. But I mean, it actually was really freeing to just lay. I told Charlene, my wife, I'd scraped more pastels onto paper than I have done for the last 2 months in just today. So that was great. I really loved it.
Oh, that's good. This one is very different from the others.
Yeah.
Completely. Yeah.
Well, here I decided, yes, by God, everybody else is doing some layering. I will too. So
They're doing it, I can do it. Okay.
yeah.
And you've changed the design somewhat. It's softer and more realistic.
But
Yeah.
the black paper comes through and it becomes yet another color, which is great.
Yep. Yep. What do the rest of the people think of this one?
Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
And I like the last three also. They're all visually pleasing.
Well, thank you.
It seems like you added a lot more than just one color.
Well, I actually added one more color. And the reason was the orange was, I did the split complementary, but the orange was so intense. You can see the really dark orange in there.
Like,
Mhm.
So that was what I started with.
yeah.
And it was so intense that I came back in with a yellow or orange. I didn't really think it was the split complementary of that. I was really having a lot of trouble finding the precise, well, first of all, just the spectrum, the wheel itself. And then, and so when I came back, I was like, that orange is just really too intense. So, I mean, more intense than it should have been on the color wheel. So I came back in with a yellow on top of that, but
It's
that's
soft.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that color wheel you're working from, do keep in mind that that was from pastels in my my box. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was trying my best too. And it's great if you can do your own color wheel for yourself, because you do learn a lot from that as well. One thing on these two I wanted to mention is this triangle shape here almost almost pointing directly off the corner of that. But by stopping it and connecting these shadowed or road areas, it holds it in. That's a fascinating design element. And the fact that you made it work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sort of going back to that, the final one that Chris did is more in his comfort zone for what he normally does, but it shows influences from the workshop.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that softer mark making, these are pretty dramatic and almost stark, but not stark. Yeah, softer, nice. All right, now I put these up because Will was having trouble loading for some reason.
I
That
couldn't
button's-
load, so I had to fight that and then finally gave up.
Yeah, if
best
that ever
tree
happens
top.
to anyone, just send them to me and I'll get them up. Love this tree.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you, thank
Love-
you.
You can see his draftsmanship in this, you know, his ability to draw and understand.
Mhm.
It's gorgeous. All right, which one was first, the green or the orange?
The green was the first. Well, actually, the first was hot pink and orange and blue, and I guess it was a stepping stone, and I did not send it because it's hideous. But I found that there's a sequence to them that the one that I didn't send was first step. This green thing was the second step, and then the third step was the orange. So I was sort of pleased with the fact that it actually has a pathway.
Yeah, it would be great to see the three of them lined up. So
You know-
green, you chose the green for the sky and the water. Did you start with the water on this and explain this?
Yeah, I started with that, and then with a limited palette, you have to make decisions. So on a little side piece of paper, I was starting to play with little swatches, and that's I said, if not the water reflects the sky. Why not a green sky? Absolutely.
Now, in a regular painting, you would probably soften this background, right? Because for that aerial perspective, but you weren't allowed to do that.
I would not. But I did it on the next one. So
On the next one?
I tried to tone that back.
I wonder if you had just done a light glaze of that green across that, if that might have helped set that back.
A
But
stumble in that. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
yeah, but it these become very graphic design, almost poster-like, Toulouse-Lautrec style in quality with these limited colors and all of them being so also intense across the board with everyone. And that's when you're limited to your colors and they're all the primary hues, you're kind of stuck with that. I like the rocks. You get a good sense of solid rocks. Well, you did say something about rocks before. And here's this one. This is the one I looked at this afternoon. I'm like, wow, I was fascinated by the rocks and the texture of the tree. And then I'm like, oh my God, orange. It was almost an afterthought, but when you first look at it, look at that orange.
This looks like it has a wash
It really does.
to it,
You mean,
like you use the alcohol wash or something like that on.
I was drinking alcohol, but I did not wash with it. No.
That's amazing, Will. Wow.
this area you're just skimming over? Like, how are you doing this texture?
I dragged it down. I just scumbled it.
But even on your light, is that like a teal that you put over the top of the blue on the rocks? Even looks a little like it's got an alcohol wash to it.
Yeah. No. Well, thank you. And I tried to get some depth there with the perspective by scumbling over those trees in the background.
Yep.
And
I think that really worked.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really worked well.
Yeah, this one, that far shore sets back a little bit more than the prior one.
You're right. Absolutely.
Did you use a yellow as well?
The yellow, that was, yes, yellow is in there. And the yellow, I pick up in the rocks and up in the trees, and then I just swiped it over the water just to give it a reflective quality.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, at first glance, I thought it was those three colors, but you're right, that yellow is in there and it's very subtle and it works very
Mhm.
nicely to help, especially push
Yeah.
that back and add things.
Well, after you
Uh,
said you used it in the rocks, I can see it there, but I mostly just noticed it on the water.
Wow.
I'm taking a Picard course right now, a 7-week Picard. I kept hearing him whispering in my ear, use the right color and swipe it and don't be so timid. So he was definitely sitting behind me.
Oh, great. So you got me in one ear and Alan in the other one. I like that.
He's on retainer.
This I put up. Yeah, he's on retainer. Yeah. This is from the Florent Fage page when he talks about color theory and stuff. I put this one up particularly because it shows a better distinction between the colors on the spectrum
Yeah.
color wheel.
So
That's
is this
nice.
the same color wheel you were using, Mary Lynn?
Basically,
there's-
yeah. I don't really have this color in my box. And
Yeah.
for me too, this is showing me, I gotta get, and this fluorescent magenta kind of thing here.
Yeah.
Whoa. And I flipped it. You see, I put his name down here to give him credit, of course, but I flipped it over so it's in the same kind of direction that the one we've been working with is.
But what strikes me is you have something close to that cyan, but there are two dark blues there. And I don't think you have two dark blues, do you?
No, oh, shoot. Now I'm trying to remember.
See,
Your
well,
teal
there's that teal.
Yeah, kind of here, but again, I
Yeah,
didn't put a really dark one here. And that's why
Yeah.
when I did this one and then I did the black and white of this one, it's not really accurate because of the values that I put on this wheel.
Mary Lynn, did you post a link for his stuff?
No, I did not, but I can do that. He
Thank you.
gets quite in depth with his color theory. He's French, but he has a really great grasp of English. So he's not speaking in French, and he's fairly young, but he's one of the
So
oil.
he's contemporary then. Okay.
Yeah, he's got to be late 30s, maybe 40. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's younger than us. Well, that's not really saying much, but
Everyone's younger than us. But thanks for bringing that up, Chris.
I'll write that down. So I'll put his link in.
Thank you.
And tomorrow I've been collecting a couple of paintings of people who do some dramatic things that I'll share in the morning. And I've already kind of mentioned what we're looking to do tomorrow. So you want a couple of good pieces of paper and choose what you would like for paper. You're going to have more latitude tomorrow to kind of do what you want, but within reason. We'll also need some sketch paper, some white sketch paper. And I think this is on the instructions that I'll be sending you now, because what I often use, let me get these. If you want, are index cards with a dot on them.
Mhm.
Or you can, excuse me a moment. We're going to do kind of an exercise like this. So we'll start, whoops, sideways, with one color or the black dot. And then we're going to do the optical exercise to find out what its complement is.
oh,
So you can either do that on the index card, or you can make kind of a chart like I did here. And I'll explain that better in the morning. So that's to neutralize color with the complement instead of gray, because it's just more vibrant that way. And what's the other?
What size paper for tomorrow? About.
What you're comfortable with. We're going to do some exercises first thing in the morning, and then mid-morning. My intent is that you can start a painting. So choose another reference photo, we'll do some sketches from it, and then spend the last part of the first session and most of the second session on that, and then have some more time to share at the end. Does that make much sense? So I'd say, 6 by 9 is a little small, maybe 9 by 12 or something.
And the exercises, one piece of paper.
I might have a couple pieces of sketch paper on hand just in case, unless you want to work with the index card this way.
Okay.
Either
How
way.
about the fruits and vegetables we bought? Should we just eat them for breakfast?
Did I write fruits and vegetables?
You did.
So we're having an omelet. Okay, good.
Oh my goodness, where was
I'm
that?
not- I can't have a pear omelet. That won't work.
Oh my goodness. You can paint a still life if you want. I am so sorry. Was that in some of the original instructions? I don't remember where that came from.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I
was?
was in the, yeah.
My wife went to the store, Terry Lynn.
Oh my
I'm going to have to
goodness.
report.
Oh, apologize. Yeah, I often do these exercises with still lifes, and I thought I had checked through everything. I didn't. Sorry. I'm sorry. So yeah, we'll do a couple exercises in the morning and then work into a painting. Sorry about the fruits and vegetables, but they're good for you. You can
I
eat.
know. That's
Absolutely.
what I'm saying.
We'll eat them.
Any comments tonight before we head out, or?
It was great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed.
A lot of fun.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And my
The main
plan tomorrow is to keep building on this, so hopefully.
The main piece tomorrow is a photo of our choice and basically a landscape or dealer's choice.
Yeah, or fruits
And
and
a couple of
vegetables.
pears. A couple of pears.
Couple of pairs. A pair of
A
pairs.
pair of pears. Yeah, I'd like it to be your choice tomorrow, and I'm not going to restrict you as much, but we are still going to build on the concepts. And I might hassle you a little bit if you get too, uptight, Chris McGraw. And
But we have
I'll do my best.
you have the use of the full palette, right? Or are
Sort of.
we talking handcuffs again?
Well, not total handcuffs, but to build on the concepts we were working on today, we're going to have to be somewhat limited.
Okay, all right.
But it will be your choice of limitations. For instance, you'll start with a basic color and then work, and you can use the split complement or the triad, kind of the same aspect, but we are also going to add in the shades and the tints of colors as well.
Okay.
Good.
Be more expansive. I'm going to get some good sleep. I'm going to have my little glass of wine now, which I've been putting
Okay.
on. So chin chin, everyone.
You heard that. That's great. A good day.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Great day.
It was
Very
great.
good day.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
so much.
Excellent. Have a great evening.
Great
See you
group.
tomorrow.
Great group.
Good night.
Thanks.
What time for
Night,
the
everybody.
Oh,
uh,
time?
tomorrow?
West Coast?
Yeah.
Where are you,
East-
Linda? West Coast is 9. We'll be here at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and East Coast is noontime.
Great. Okay. Noon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night. Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.